Good morning, Australia.
Oh, good morning, Texas. It's so cold in here at the moment.
It
I
is.
got
Well,
my
it's
hoodie
it's
on.
start it's starting to warm up in Texas.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
We're switching our seasons again, aren't we?
We are, and it's so dark outside. It's like
Well,
6 a.m., but it's like pitch black still.
tell everybody where you are.
Well, I'm in a place called Summers, which is about 4 hours from my home, and it's where my in-laws have a holiday home. And they don't have any mobile reception at their home. So I'm actually sitting in a car at a car park just up the road, and I'm under the lights of the car lights.
That
Well,
is true dedication, and I do
there's,
appreciate that.
there's nothing we won't do to get the iridologists out there, hey?
That's the truth. That's the truth. We'll go anywhere and do anything, won't we?
That's right.
Teamwork makes the dream work, darling.
Yeah.
Well, you want me to spin the globe?
Yes, you do it. Okay, it's landed in Montreal.
It has, and look who's popped up.
Yay! Gino Bellenfante.
We've got our friend Gino with us.
Yay. Oh, we're well, Gino. Look at you. I love your backdrop with your wonderful certificates.
Thanks to IPA.
Yeah.
Yes.
Iridologist of the year back there.
Yes. That was
That's
one prize.
That's a special award to have.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was.
absolutely.
And I remember when that happened because Gino couldn't be there, and we organized with his family to do a surprise, and it was so wonderful to see your face.
Yes, it was.
Oh, taking over. Because everybody was trying to get me to come, and I said, I can't. I got so many other responsibilities at this point. Unfortunately, I can't. So they got me over to their house. And sure enough, pal, we have something to show you. And then they put up the screen, huh?
I love that.
It's good.
Awesome.
It's
was
fun.
Okay.
Well, so, Gino, I know you know about our little broadcast that we have, and we're just going to jump in here and start just firing questions away at you. And so I'm going to take the first one.
Sure.
How long have you been an iridologist?
I actually started studying iridology in 1985. So that's way, way back. But it took me 7 years to actually get the business up and running. And the reason why is because I was actually in another business before that, which had nothing to do with health. And I'm going to spill the beans because there's a joke that lines that story. I was actually a pastry chef.
Wow.
People
I did
that
not know that.
Yeah, in fact, a pastry chef, but my love was always health. And when I was young, I was always looking to stay fit and healthy. And so I wanted to keep in that spirit. And so when I got into an age where I was comfortable enough to actually study something else that I loved, which was iridology, then I started to actually integrate the iridology at the same time that I was trying to build my business, but I had another business at hand where we had 13 employees. So it was
Wow.
quite a big establishment. And it was funny because I had my phone and I transferred my phone line to my cell. So I would be making pastries and cakes and stuff like that. And then the phone would ring and I would say, hold on, everybody. I'd run to the bathroom inside iridology.
Love it.
I would book an appointment and then I would run home where I had my office, get undressed from the pastry chef outfit, get into the outfit that I'm now, go downstairs about half hour before, get the iridology done. And back then we had maybe 1 or 2 people coming per week. And so we were running back and forth and trying to make this work. But yeah, we started actually in 1985 and studying, got my first practice going in 1992, 7 years later. And it's nice because Ellen Tart was the actual first class I took at her house. I think it was one of her first or second classes that she started because she started teaching, I believe, in 1991. And so it was back in Escondido, California. So we had a small group of individuals there and we had a wonderful time. and yeah, she was a real spark of encouragement for me there. Yeah.
Awesome.
That is a good story.
That is a good story.
So first,
Wow.
then I healed them.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good.
Well, what was
Chris?
your specialty? What was your specialty to make?
Oh, in the pastry business,
Yeah.
we're the wedding cakes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And we used to actually design on the cakes themselves. So we used to make characters, and we used to make cards or Eiffel Towers and stuff like that. So
Right.
yeah, it was real nice.
that is
Yum.
funny.
And Gina, what was your inspiration to get into iridology?
To be honest with you, the first time I heard about iridology was through my wife. So it's all her fault that all of this is happening.
It's always her fault, eh?
It's always a woman's fault. This is a good one. So we had a friend, and she had just given birth to her little girl. And sure enough, the little girl was relatively sick in the beginning, not knowing why, spending a lot of time in the children's hospital. The mother was constantly there, almost living there. And every once in a while, the child would come out, go home, and have some time with the family, and then would have to go back. At one point, my wife says to her, "Well, Louisa, why don't we take a look at an alternative and see if maybe, there's something else we can do?" And so she started to investigate a little bit, and she found a gentleman in Toronto. His name is Habib. He is now passed away. But Habib was having a good reputation in Toronto, had his own clinic there, and did iridology. So she said to me, "Why don't we take her there?" I said, "Well, go ahead and take her." So she actually took the young girl, the mom, and the other children all together out to Toronto, a 6-hour drive, did the consultation, and then came back. And honestly, I've never seen such power of healing with the plants, herbs, and change of diet. The matter of 3 months, I would say 3-4 months, the little girl was up and around, less hospital visits, and they're still our friends today. And the young girl is married, has her own children, and that was just a phenomenal story. And when I saw that, I really was impressed. And so my wife said, "Let's go. We got to go ourselves and go see this gentleman, Habib, and do our own iridology." And of course, like men do, they say, "Why? I'm in good health. Why would I have to go and go see somebody else to tell me how to, do this or that?" So she said, No, you're coming. So she booked the 2 appointments. We drove out there. We went to our appointment. And honestly, he just blew my mind. There was no cameras. It was loop and light, like we started. And so he's looking at me and he's examining my eyes, and he says to me, "Congratulations. It's very nice to see somebody who takes care of themselves." So I'm looking all proud, to my wife and say, "Yeah, okay." And then he starts nitpicking. And he says, "Tell me something. Do you have this?" And I'm looking at my wife. I'm saying, "How does this guy know this? This is private stuff." And then he says, "Do you feel this? Have you gotten this?" And I was just blown away. And every time I'd look at my wife, at one point he says, "Why are you looking at your wife? Just answer the question." So anyways, needless to say, on our drive back, and it's a 6-hour drive back from where he was in Toronto to Montreal. And I'm thinking, I'm saying to Michelle, "Honey, I think I'd like to study this." So she says, "Well, go ahead and do so." She never stopped me. So I called the gentleman back and I says, Habib, I says, "I'd like to know where you studied, if I can go study where you went." He says, "Well, I studied in Hawaii." I said, "Well, that's not going to happen. I can't do that. I got a business. I have 3 children, and my parents." And I said, "No way." He says, "What's the alternative?" I asked him. "Well, your best alternative will be Bernard Jensen in the United States." And sure enough, I looked him up and I got in contact with Westbrook University, who was teaching Bernard Jensen. Little did I know it was actually Ellen Tart Jensen who was actually teaching the course. And so I went through the course, and honestly, it took me 7 years to finish the course of, you know, the iridology, nutrition, and so on and so forth as a naturopath. But then I got so inspired by this, and I had to start my own business. And after we started studying, I just decided, let's open up that business. And that's where the transition from pastry chef to iridologist, naturopath came in.
That is a fabulous story.
Yeah.
And the business is still running, isn't it?
Well, I'm not the owner of it. It's been 20 years that I've sold it. Yes, still in running, and sure enough, it's called Gino's Gourmandise.
Wow, love it. That's good one.
Something.
Awesome.
Yeah, in Montreal. Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. Well done.
So, Gino,
Oh.
what's your favorite sign to see in the eye, or favorite iris type maybe that you have?
Well, that's kind of a tough question, and I'll tell you why. Having learned everything as we did in the IPA program, which was really phenomenal for myself, and having spent 10 years in the board of directors and listening to so many wonderful iridologists giving their talks and the conferences and everything else, being under the wings of Dr. Daniele Loreto, there's really a lot in iridology. And there's so many facets of it that can really capture you. So to me, because I'm a blue eye or lymphatic, that would be one of the things that I really appreciate the most. And then within the signs of the lymphatic constitution, I think the stroma is the one that really brings me in the most. It tells us a story almost as if you're looking at the direction of the stroma, it tells you so much about the genetic predispositions that we have. And so it can help us understand, you know, what pitfalls we can go through if we don't adjust our life, like the cardio-spleen sign, for example. You know, that's a phenomenal sign that you can see as a genetic predisposition, but we don't have to fall in that trap, you know, of having a heart issue or a lymphatic issue or immune system issue. So those things, the stroma is really fantastic. The minute little changes that we see, for example, the red transversal, that is so phenomenal that you can actually see the actual change very, very minute, not in its structure or position, but in its tincture of color. And that helps us to understand so much about the inflammation, about the myelin sheath, and how it's being treated by the body or ways of living. So to me, I think that would be the most interesting. Obviously, there's so many others that we can talk about, but the stroma of the iris with the mixed eye and the lymphatic eye are really phenomenal. We could see it in some cases where we have many lacunas in the hematogenic or the brown eye. And so that is really phenomenal to see those changes occur. Yeah.
Amazing.
Excellent.
We haven't had that one before.
No, we haven't. That's the first.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love
But
it.
that's awesome. Everybody sees something different. Everybody's attracted to something different, and I love to hear it.
You know, when you ask people, you know, and you look at the stroma's direction, you know, and you see that cardio-spleen sign, for example, and you ask people, you know, anybody in the family had heart issue, and they're kind of baffled. It's like, how can you see that, you know, from just looking at the eye, you know, and they tell me the stories about how, you know, the father or the grandparent had some issues of the heart. And, you know, then sometimes when you get people that are in their 40s and 50s and 60s, they actually have issues, you know, that pertaining to cardiovasculars. And so that's fantastic. I remember the first time that I did iridology and promoting iridology, and we went to different conferences that were done like in shopping malls and stuff like that, you know, in Montreal. And so one time we went to one of the conferences there, like the little meetings, you know, that we have for health shows. And I put up the health show there, my booth, and it says, health through your eyes, and inside Iridology. And one particular person came, and I remember Ellen Tarchenson teaching us about the stromas turning pink red. And I was able to see pink red. And one of the things that Ellen had taught us is watch how many they have in the eyes. Because if they have a lot in the eyes, especially if there's many, like 10 or more in one iris, ask them about a particular problem with muscles and the myelin sheath in the family or something like MS. Yeah. I asked the gentleman, anybody in your family had, issues with myelin sheath or maybe MS? They were all freaked out. They had MS in the family, and this was the beginning and when we were starting. And so, yeah, we don't diagnose, we're just analyzing, but this is an analysis of what the stroma is doing for us. And so if we see an individual that has those kind of things, obviously, depending on our background, if we're a medical doctor, naturopath, or, osteopath or whatever it is, homeopath, we can use those modalities to actually start addressing the issue, of taking care of the myelin sheath. And so that's a wonderful thing that I found to be in the iris. It's different for everybody, but it's really fantastic.
That's great.
Last night I taught a class to some iridology, certified iridologists. They weren't students. They were they passed their test and they're starting their career. And I told them, I said, what you do is so special because you now have the knowledge to use an ancient science to read the personal story of the person sitting in front of you. Yep. And I said, every eye tells a story. My left eye tells a different story than my right eye, but you put them together and now you've got two fascinating chapters. And you know how to read that. You know how to read that. And that's a gift that not everybody has. There's just a select few of us that know how to read this story and other people. But when you start peeling back the pages and reading the story to them, it blows their mind. And I love it.
That is so true. And you see it so often in the office, like when you're seeing individuals come here and then, you're telling little stories and helping them to reveal what's going on and so forth. And those irises are so phenomenal. I was blown away last week. We had a young girl, about 17 years old, and I'm taking the picture of the right eye, pure blue eye, lymphatic constitution. Go over to the left, it's like total brown hematogenic eye. Put those two pictures together and tell a story.
Those are two different books. Yeah. Not two different chapters. Those are two different books. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's fabulous.
They're often like chameleons.
Yeah, aren't they?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we've come to that place in our little broadcast where we have you pick a number from our board.
Sounds nice.
1 through 36. We're going to read you a question. We're all going to take turns answering it, but we're going to get your take on it first. So if you will, please pick a number.
Well, my favorite number is 4.
Number 4. Where is number 4?
Right after number 3.
You're right, Gino. And it's right in front of number 5. Oh, let's see. Well, this is about birth order.
Well, there you go.
That's fun. Birth order is always fun. I have a daughter and a son in that order. I noticed my daughter, who is 5 years old, is very bossy and controlling towards her 3-year-old brother. He allows it and never pushes back. What can I do to help him get stronger and help her not be so bossy?
Wow, what a question.
Yes.
Well, being a father of 3, having a girl first, and a boy second, and a girl third. I would have to say that, when you're looking at the characteristics, first of all, they both have their strengths and their weaknesses. If we can learn from each other, that would be great, because the strength of the first can be almost like passed over to the second, and the mildness and kindness or hearted of the second can also be brought to the attention of the first. So the parents can also do a lot in order to instill that quality of looking at the good side of the child by praising them when they do something. And then when the other does something, which is the stronger, the girl, then you praise her so they can hear you praising each other of the two and not putting them in competition. Obviously, look, at the genetics of these individuals. I mean, they are two different individuals with two beautiful qualities. And what we want to do is just enhance them and modify them in a sense that it just outshines more in their life, So a leader is a leader. I mean, I'm third in the family. I know my brother is the first, and he's always taken the lead in things, and we kind of looked up to him and so on. So that's one of the things. The second one is always a little bit more laid back, trying to learn from the first, but they usually become more smarter and more adaptable.
Interesting.
What's your take on it? You're the specialist on the birth order.
No. But well, I mean, the firstborn girl, and I've got this birth order in my own family with my kids, and the firstborn girl is quite yang. But I would say let's look at the mother, because the first girl often tries to compete with the mum and learns from the mum. So if the mum plays, then the first girl will learn to play. If the mum yells, maybe the first girl learns to yell and be bossy. I'm not sure. Like, I'm just thinking, let's look at the mother and see what she's doing in her life. For instance, in my own family, my oldest daughter she's quite bossy because she likes order. So she loves order. So she orders all the other kids. We actually didn't have to tell the other kids to clean their rooms. She did all of that. But like, it was interesting. Like, she did all of that herself. But my son is a lot more sensitive. But now as he's growing up, they've got a very different relationship. It's much more symbiotic, if you like, more like peers. But as growing up, she would often lead him in the sense that, we're doing this tonight and we're doing this, and before mum and dad get home, we're going to get this done, and da 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 da. But I think in that, with that question, as Gino said, it's really good to praise the boy and build him up. Like, he needs that. Like, he needs that building up, because, if you're going to yell at that boy, he's going to get under the table and cower. But with the girl, like, I think it's important to teach her that her place is to be the princess rather than the queen. And by doing that, the mother needs to step up and be the queen in a calm manner. If the mother's a queen in a harsh manner, especially towards the dad, then she's going to get that. Yeah.
Sounds nice.
I agree with you both. I mean, I'm a number one girl. I was bossy of my little brother.
What do you mean were? Well, sorry.
I'll talk to you later. You see how it's just natural. It's just natural. It just rolls off my tongue. But I think it's important too for I know what you're saying about the mother, because the girl will pattern after the mother in those ways. But I think it's important for the father to get involved too and say, honey, please, let's look at him and help him and not diminish him. Let's not squash him. Let's not talk down to him. Let's talk to him at the same level that you would talk to one of your friends. So there's no reason to be bossy. In other words, give the little boy a break.
And that's also hard for the dad to do, because
it is hard.
The firstborn girl comes from his side, so it's his daddy's little princess.
Yes.
And then often if the second born child is a boy and he wants a boy who's really macho, he's not really going to get that.
That's
So it's
right.
kind of a bit hard for the dad to navigate that relationship too.
It is hard, but you know what? When I was little, I remember from, I guess, birth up until about 6 or 7 years. No, I would say closer to 10 years old. If my dad would have told me to go try to walk on water, I would have done it. I would have believed that I could have done it because that man instilled so much in me. And he would say, you can do anything. You can do anything. And so his words, I took those to heart. I also took those to my mind, believing I can do anything. I can do anything. So I think when you get the support of a dad behind the girl too, you could, it take, it takes a village, guys. It takes a village, but the girls will respond to their dad's words.
Yeah,
That is true.
Yeah.
it is. What a good question. Well done.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. We talked that around the table.
Yeah, by the way, Kathy, you could walk on water if you come in Canada in the cold winter seasons. The ice in the lakes is good to walk on water.
I have no desire to walk on water. Oh no. Oh, I would come back home and it would take me 6 months to thaw out, honestly.
I know. I can't wait to go to Montreal in the winter. I'd love to.
I'll have to go in the summer.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
That's really nice that you are doing. I really appreciate this very much. It really links us together, not only as a community here, but a community worldwide. And so I'm looking forward to seeing the other iridologists from different parts of the world as well, just giving their comments and their intake. When we start iridology and studying iridology, it takes a lot of courage to leave whatever we're doing behind and start a new chapter. But when you're integrated with a family like we are in the IPA family, it really is a source of encouragement. And it really tells you, you can do it, you can move. If we think back of where we started, myself, we have a clinic here in Montreal right now. We've been at it for 31 years, since 1992. And we are now, 13 strong here of different practitioners. So
Wow.
it's possible. Put your mind to it, connect with the right people, connect with the right association. We can really do this. We can help a lot of people.
When I think about IPA, I do think of us as a family, but I think we're connected as people helping people.
Yeah.
I know that might kind of sound cliche, and I think even there's probably branded somewhere, and I probably just violated a couple of copyrights by saying it. But we really are a group of people that want to see the ones that are coming up. We want to see them succeed and carry on iridology.
And build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for joining us, Jenny. You're
Yes.
truly inspirational.
Yes, I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And, hello to everyone. Keep
Very
up.
good. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.